Are you on track to become a professional footballer? That question is one that I asked myself constantly growing up when I was 14, 16, 18, when I was in college, and even when I was pushing on the semi-professional level. And it really wasn't until I was like 22 and performing at the semi-pro level until I actually kind of realized that yes, I am on track to sign this pro contract. So in today's video, I made a checklist of milestones or goals that you should be hitting at 16, 18, or even at 21 years old in order to set yourself up for a successful professional career. Now, before we get into these lists, I just want to put out a little disclaimer to take everything with a grain of salt. Every pro's path to the professional game is different. Everybody develops at a different rate. And I think it's very difficult, almost impossible, to predict a player's senior career based off how their youth career goes. I knew players at 16 that pretty much checked every single one of these boxes off these lists, that were dubbed like the next big thing, that were playing for the youth national team, excelling at the academy level, and then they never went on to go sign a professional contract. And on the flip side, I knew players who at 21 years old didn't look like they were even really close. They were kind of chugging along, and then all of a sudden they had a massive explosion in their game, and then they went on to sign a professional contract a few years later. So like I said, these lists aren't going to be perfect. Take it with a grain of salt, but hopefully they can help you see if you're on track for a successful career. Milestones to hit by 16. The first milestone that I have is that you want to be playing at a high level for your age. Now, high level could mean anything. That could be Bayern Munich's academy. This could be a MLS academy. This could be MLS Next. This could be training with a professional team or semi-pro team, or this could just be competing with a high level club team in your area, whether that's ECNL, NPL, or whatever. The next milestone I have is starting to develop parts of your game to the professional level. I kind of view the game broken up into 4 different parts. You have your technical ability, your tactical ability, your physical ability, and your mental ability. Technical ability is just your skill on the ball, passing, receiving, first touch, shooting, all that kind of stuff. Tactical is your understanding of the game, understanding positionally where you should be at, understanding movements, off-ball movements, on-ball movements, all that kind of stuff. There's the physical side, which obviously means strength and speed and stamina and all that kind of stuff. And then you have the mental side, which is like mental toughness, resiliency, all that kind of stuff that gets thrown into the game as well. And like I said, the goal at 16 is to start to develop a couple things, like some of your best attributes, up to the professional level. The next milestone that I have that hopefully 16-year-olds are starting to check off is that you're starting to ramp up your training regimen to the professional level. This typically means like 4 or 5 days a week of team training or partner training or small group training, 2 to 3 days a week in the gym, 1 or 2 games a week, and then adding in some extra training whenever you can. I think at around 16, your body starts to become ready for this workload, and you should start to get used to that amount of training and that schedule. And that schedule will hopefully become part of your weekly routine for years to come. So you want to establish that now. Next, we have starting to establish good habits off the field. This might be like learning what a good diet looks like. This could be establishing good sleep habits, getting 8 hours of sleep at night, doing some recovery work, stretching work, rehab work, all that kind of stuff. Starting to just dip your toes into understanding how you can lengthen out your career for as long as possible, and starting to make these all good habits so they stick with you for your career. The next milestone I have is both self-evaluating and getting an external evaluation about yourself as a player. Because at this age, I think it's really important to identify what areas are the weaker parts of your game, what areas are the stronger parts of your game, what areas are holding you back from reaching that next level. You should be able to identify these so that you know what you need to work on and what you need to build up so that you can reach that next level or the professional level. The next box that you should check at this age is you should be actively compiling a highlight video, actively creating your CV, getting that ready, starting to learn those skills so that you can take that with you wherever you go. My next milestone for 16-year-olds is to start to plot out your path to the professional game. And I also really think that you should look at yourself as a player and hopefully get an evaluation from coaches and mentors and everything for a realistic path to the professional game for yourself. Because not every player is going to sign directly into the MLS at 16 years old. Not every player is going to go D1 and get drafted. You need to kind of find out where you're at and what a realistic yet, a reach goal for you would be. And you can have, your reach goal plan A, a safer goal of plan B, and then the safest plan C option. For example, when I was 16 years old and I was kind of self-evaluating myself and I wasn't playing for an academy team, I was a good player at a good club in the state of Oregon, I kind of told myself that a good route, a realistic route, yet something that's going to challenge me is probably going to try to play Division I college soccer here in America. That was something that I could challenge myself, yet was reachable and attainable, and I thought I could continue to develop and keep this dream of playing professional alive. And the final milestone I have for 16-year-olds is creating good relationships with people that are going to help you achieve those goals. So get comfortable talking to your club coaches, get comfortable having a good relationship with your high school coaches if you're playing high school soccer, get comfortable talking with teammates that also have the same ambitions, or other mentors or one-on-one personal trainers, or whatever it is. Really start to cultivate these relationships with people with similar goals and want to help you, because those are the people that are going to help you actually achieve those things. So next we have milestones to hit by 18. The first milestone at 18 is very similar to the first milestone at 16, but you should be playing in a high level environment. Now, 18, this can range so much. I've seen 18-year-olds be training with MLS teams or training with USL championship teams. I've seen 18-year-olds in college performing there. I've seen 18-year-olds playing for semi-pro teams, NPSL, UPSL, USL League 2, or semi-pro teams abroad. I've seen 18-year-olds still be in academy setup. So there's so many different options where you could be playing, but you just have to be playing in a high-level environment somewhere. And like I said, all of these can work. I've seen players at 18 play for all of these different routes and all end up signing a professional contract. It's just finding what works for you and finding what you think is going to be your best path. Now, the next milestone at 18 is starting to round out all the parts of your game to the professional level. Like I said, at 16, where you're starting to develop the first one or two things to the professional level, at 18, hopefully you already have a few certain aspects of your game at the pro level, and now you're kind of bringing up your weaknesses to that professional standard. And I believe you should always double down on your strengths, whatever that is about your game, whatever makes you special. You need to have that ability, but at the same time, you do need to have your weaknesses, your weakest part of your games, at least to the professional standard. So the goal at 18 is to really try to round out everything to that low bar of the professional standard: technical, tactical, mental, and physical, while also increasing your strengths, that special part about your game. By 18, you should have established your training regimen. You should be training multiple days a week in the gym, multiple times a week, doing your extra work. Whatever your schedule is, you should have established it, and now you're in the groove and just consistently doing it week in and week out. As well as the next milestone, you should have established your healthy habits off the field, your eating, your sleeping, all that kind of stuff, your recovery work. And you should be, again, in a good groove where you're just consistently doing this week in and week out. This next milestone is a huge one. And this is, hopefully you've had a chance now to compare your game to the professional level. And this is huge for really understanding what parts of your game you need to improve to the professional standard. But hopefully somewhere, sometime by now, you've played against a pro or played with a pro, and you can directly compare your game to their game. But it's one thing to watch on TV or to see on YouTube, pros train, but it's completely different to actually be there playing against, playing with, training with a pro, and directly seeing the quality, the speed of play, every little action, and directly comparing that to your speed of play, your quality of your touches, all the little intricacies of your game. The next milestone is you should have a highlight video made. You should always be continuously working on making the next one and adding to it and getting more clips. But by 18, you want to have a highlight video made. In that same route, the CV should be polished, ready to go, ready to send off wherever it is. And at 18, hopefully you've narrowed in on your path and you've kind of made decisions on which route you're going to take to the professional game. And I don't want to say that if you haven't decided on the exact route to the pro game by 18 that you'll never make it. That's not true. But you should know what your plans are after the youth academy level, whether that's to jump with the first team, or whether that's to go to college, or whether that's to try to play semi-pro or professionally somewhere else or go abroad. Whatever it is, you should start narrowing down what you want to do, how you're going to do it, and the people you need to talk to in order to get there. And the final thing at 18 is you want to maintain the relationships with the people that are going to help you get to that next level. So even though you're about to go off to college, or you're going to go abroad, or you're going to continue up into your academy or go up to the first team, whatever that route is, you still want to stay in contact with your old coaches, old teammates, old mentors, maintaining that relationship, because you never know when you do need to call upon them for help or for a trial or whatever it is. Milestones at 21. If your goal is to play professionally and you're 21 years old, you need to be playing at least at a high semi-professional level somewhere, or in college and finishing up your college degree. I don't want to say that if you're playing amateur football at 21 that it's impossible for you to sign a pro contract later on in life, but the clock is starting to tick down, and you do need to realize that you're competing with thousands, if not millions, of other players playing at the semi-professional level, trying to sign that pro contract as well. So at 21, a big necessity is playing at the semi-pro level or wrapping up your collegiate career. The next milestone is you should be finalizing the last couple parts of your game up to the professional level. At 21 now, you should develop a lot of your game technically, tactically, mentally, and physically to the professional level, and there still might be one or two things that you need to improve up to the professional standard. You need to finalize those things, get those things up to that standard, and again, continue to double down on what makes you special as a player and keep improving that. The next milestone at 21 is you should be fully established with your schedule both on and off the field. 18, you should kind of get it down, but at 21, it should be like your standard weekly schedule that you consistently do. Hopefully you've had 5+ years now of doing this. You've tweaked it, you continue to improve it, you change things, but week in and week out, you're training 4 or 5 times a week, you're in the gym multiple times a week, you're improving your fitness, you're improving your tactical IQ, you have that weekly schedule down, both on the field as well as off the field, sleeping, nutrition, all that kind of stuff. The next milestone is you should be starting to taste the professional level. Now that sounds kind of funny, but by this I mean you should be close. You should be starting to see glimpses of the pro game. That might be getting the chance to train with pros in their off-season period, or maybe you've been invited on a trial or two at the professional level and you just haven't been accepted, but you're there, you see it, and you're close. Or maybe you've been playing with a semi-pro team with ex-pros and you can see the level. You're starting to realize that that next step up is the pro game. And now it's just about getting that opportunity, having all those stars align, and signing that contract. By 21, you should also have multiple highlight videos made, and you're always continuously working on that next one. I like to release a highlight video every single year at the end of the season, so that's exactly what you should be doing as well at 21 years old. Once again, the CV should be polished, ready to go, ready to send off pretty much at a moment's notice. If you haven't signed a pro contract by 21, you need to be in contact with somebody who has, or a mentor or an old coach, to evaluate what you're missing, why you haven't signed that contract. And it might be you just need to wait for your opportunity. You need to keep on going to trials. You need to wait for those stars to align. Or it might be you need to be more fit. You're just not at the fitness level of a pro. Or maybe it's a technical part of your game or a tactical or whatever it is. You need at this point to have an external person tell you what they think you're missing in order to achieve that next level and sign a pro contract. And the final milestone at 21 is calling upon your network of people that you've built up over these years, your old coaches, your old teammates, maybe some old trainers, an old mentor, whoever it is, calling these people or texting these people, asking for help, letting them know that you want to sign that pro contract and that you just need either help with connections to a trial, connections to an agent, opportunities, whatever it is, asking their help and seeing if they can help you achieve that goal. So anyway, guys, those are the milestones that I think players should be trying to hit at 16, 18, and 21 years old. It's very generic. Everybody's path is different. You know, some players missed all the milestones at 16, did half of them at 18, killed them at 21, did all the milestones, then signed a pro contract. So don't panic if you feel like you're behind, and don't relax if you feel like you're ahead, but just use this to see what areas that you feel like you're on track and maybe what areas you think you can put a little bit more effort behind to get on track. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, guys, peace.